Virtual events, Zoom fatigue, feeling disconnected or bored, another boring webinar, whatever it may be. I think the missing piece, no, I don't think, I know the missing piece for virtual events, online meetings, even our team calls is having that host, that MC, that moderator that connects the conversation, that builds the bridges, that manufactures engagement, that brings the passion, the energy, the fire, maybe that also makes sure that we're all staying on that same big picture conversation. When I look at all of the things that are going on, I've now delivered over 40 virtual presentations in the last 3 months. I've probably attended 100 different virtual events. And I'm getting the question a lot, Brian, what has made the great events great? And I'm struggling with that. And I actually usually flip it on its head and say, I can tell you what's made events bad. And I started to ask myself, like, look at that. And I'm a speaker and I do host and MC. But when I look at this idea of what is virtual missing that we get offline? Well, I was just asked that on an interview, which inspired this video. And my answer was, it wasn't a hug, it wasn't a heart, it was actually a hug, right? I think we cannot give a virtual hug like we can offline, and we can never do that in business or in life. But I also feel like the virtual world has this very cut off and disconnection. And it's not just the distance that we have with our screens. It's also that when like a meeting ends, we hit end meeting and everything closes. And we don't have that camaraderie or that like standing up and asking your neighbor, what'd you think? Or walking out to the bar and running into somebody, or even just a little bit of like the gradual letdown or the gradual ramp up. And so when I look at this and I look at the, researching the virtual event platforms and coaching speakers, and now I've been working with all of these different virtual event companies on building content. I don't care how great of a speaker is. I don't care how awesome the platform is with polls and questions and Q&A and social walls and all those things. If you don't have that attention and that thread that weaves through the event, if you don't have that face that someone feels as though it doesn't matter what speaker comes up, you know that there's one voice, one person. Like they're the facilitators of trust. I mean, I wrote a blog about this about a year and a half ago about a great moderator of a panel. Their job is to make their panelists look good and be the bridge of trust between the audience and the panelists. Therefore, you have to be, as a moderator, you have to know your audience. Like I always walk around and ask people questions. Hey, are you going to come to this panel? What's something you would love to get out of there? What's a question you would love to ask? And so when I look at virtual and we look at all of the options that are out there, I don't believe Zoom fatigue or boring webinars or too long of events would be a problem or as big of a problem if we invested with a host or an MC or a moderator that understood the vision, what success looked like, the goals. They were able to, if someone's live video failed, they're able to jump on there and do their dance. When someone else is presenting, they're able to foster conversation in the chat room, answer questions, even engage with the next speaker, get them hyped up, bring them up to that level. And I really think this is one of the biggest changes that I'm seeing in virtual events is that the host, the MC, and even the speakers must be integrated within the event strategy before you select the platform. And I know that wasn't the case in the past, right? Like you wouldn't include me in your event before you picked what hotel or what ballroom you were going to use. But virtually, it is essential to connect those points, right? Because if you pick the wrong virtual event platform that I can't leverage the things that I'm good at, well, it's going to limit me. And I really do believe virtual event platforms today limit success more than they enable it. And I was going to say it's not a shot at virtual event platforms, but it is, because we have to reinvent this whole experience. And so here's on my call to action when it comes to hosts, MCs, virtual events. And it can be an executive. I mean, I'm not saying it has to be someone that you hire outside, but here's what you need to do. They need to be brought in early. They need to understand what success looks like. They need have a say in how you're measuring the goals that you are measuring of what that success is for the event. They have to be able to understand why certain speakers, why certain content, why do you have a chat and Q&A? Why do you have a lunch break? Why did you pick this musician? All of these things need to be, and it's not saying that they have to have a say in what that is, but rather they just need to understand it. And then on top of that, there has to be this thread and this connective tissue, right? That, even if you're having the speaker answer questions from the Q&A, bringing on that familiar face, that person that gives people what to be excited about, the preview, right? That we need the anchor, we need the broadcaster, we need, and to be that virtual event host, it is draining. It is, I did one a couple of weeks ago and I was never been so tired. And so I realize the importance, the value. I also know it's not an easy job and it's not something everyone can do. But I will say this, even as a keynote speaker, as a virtual speaker, I believe having the right host and the right MC is more valuable and will lead to more of a success than picking the right platform, the right technology, or even the right speakers in your lineup. That's how important, that's how much, and it goes before the event, during the event, and after the event, right? Like that host and MC should be doing Facebook Live. They should have engaging on Twitter. They should do a takeover of your Instagram account. You should do an email newsletter from their voice. They should do a welcome video to their audience, really, because we don't build relationships or trusts with brands or logos. We build them with people, but we need that person that's going to bring us on that journey, connect all of the things, and be the person that we can trust, we can build that relationship with. And so I challenge virtual events, I challenge event planners, event producers, and I challenge speakers and hosts. It's our job to push that, to understand the value there and really invest in that person, in that role, in that job, and reinvent the way that we connect with people in a virtual event, the way that we bring people in, and really the way that we connect in ways only virtual can. I believe virtual gives us a 360-degree opportunity of experiences, but it can be very overwhelming for all of us. And to make that overwhelming a little bit less, a good host, a good MC, a good moderator, a good anchor can be that secret sauce. My name is Brian Fanzo. If you guys want more virtual event stuff, make sure you subscribe here on this YouTube channel. It's all about virtual here. Check out my blog. And I have a new podcast that I am extremely excited about. It's right there. Press the Damn Button. It is a live streaming podcast where I am talking to people about what inspired them to press the button, what buttons they've pressed. I'm even going to press their buttons. And it's the inspirational, motivational podcast you didn't know you needed, but now you do. So hopefully you guys will check that out. Just go to look in your favorite podcasting app, press the damn button. Or if you want to join into the experience, just go to pressthedamnbuttonx.com. Until next time, my friends, make it a great day. Cheers.